You are entering a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You just crossed over into the Q&A zone. Dun dun dun! Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Alright, first question. Sukasa2k6 asks, do you play any Touhou games? No, I do not play any Touhou games. For one thing, from what I've seen, Touhou games fall into two categories that I'm not particularly a big fan of. Doujinshis, which, forgive me if I horribly slaughtered that name, basically visual novels, which I have never been a really big fan of that sort of thing. I've never quite understood why people love them so much, other than the fact that they have cool anime art. I played a little bit of Fate Stay Night, wasn't too terribly impressed by it, even though I really liked the anime, which is strange. I should have loved Fate Stay Night, but for some reason I was kind of sitting back and going, why wouldn't I just read a book or a comic book? Because it feels like it's blending those two things uncomfortably together. Maybe I'd like something along the lines of Clanad or maybe Canon, where you have a bit more choice over the matter. But with Fate Stay Night, it's just like there's so much reading without much interaction, and the writing in and of itself, maybe because it was translated from the Japanese to the English, I don't know, but the writing itself was rather uninspiring. It reminded me of a lot of the crappy young adult novels I've sat down and read. That's only my personal opinion. I know lots of people, especially listeners, probably subscribers, probably love Fate Stay Night. I'm not a particularly big fan of it, so... And the other thing that they're really great at are basically the space hell shooters, which is pretty much you've got a little tiny little spaceship on the bottom of the screen that's moving back and forth, and you've got bullets going everywhere in every which direction. There's no way you can escape them. Terror at every single point, and it's basically designed to be the most infuriating, frustrating thing of all time that really doesn't require as much skill as it does pattern recognition. Now, I'm not saying that there's no skill involved, it's just that I would much rather play a game that, you know, I can enjoy without pulling my hair out every 5 seconds going, oh, fuck, my spaceship blew up. Oh, shit, it blew up. I don't want to, that's not fun to me. That's just, I don't understand the thrill of that. Maybe if I actually sat down and played one, might actually go, oh wow, pulling out my fingernails and tearing out my hair because my spaceship blew up for the 50 millionth time is actually a lot of fun. But no, I don't really intend on going that direction. As far as visual novels are concerned, I'm planning to give it another spin coming up here, you know, just give it another round. Maybe just Fate Stay Night was my thing, or maybe I just didn't give it enough time. It just doesn't, it seems like a lot of time to put into something when I could be reading The Wheel of Time or something else that's really good, that's an actual book, rather than what feels like a little mini book for people who don't actually read. That's not an insult to any of you. This is just my thoughts. Please, please, please don't attack me. I understand you love visual novels. You're cool people. I love you guys, but I don't freaking understand it. Okay, that's the end of the Touhou question. Another question from Sukasa. By the way, thank you so much for your questions. You're such an awesome guy. Here, let me pat you on the head. Virtually. See, I'm doing a little hand gesture with my hand that's supposed to be like a little pat-pat, but you can't see it because this is a recording. His other question is, do you listen to any Vocaloid music? The truth is, I have been forced to listen to Vocaloid music, mostly through YouTube and other sources. Maybe not so much forced, as it's kind of like, oh, it's a Vocaloid song, maybe I'll listen to it for about 20 seconds, and then after my ears start bleeding, I turn it off. Vocaloid really isn't my kind of thing. It's not my style of music. I'm much more, I like clean, sort of straight-sounding stuff. I like Queen, I like Pink Floyd, I like a lot of classical music, sort of stuff that, to me, sounds a bit more organic. The thing with Vocaloid is that it's very, very electronic, and that's the entire point of it. The voices are electronic, the instruments are electronic, the whole thing sounds very synthetic, and that's not really my kind of thing, unless you're talking about ELO, in which case ELO are badass. I mean, you can't compete with ELO. Miku versus ELO, Electric Light Orchestra. Electric Light Orchestra would pwn her ass. I'm sorry, Miku would not stand a chance. She would be crying in tears at when ELO starts singing Telephone Line, and Miku would try to do her own version, and it'd turn out like, oh, telephone line, give me some time, and then ELO would just go boom. But anyways, that's just complete nonsense. At Anime Expo, I'll tell you what, I don't hate Vocaloid. Because when you're at Anime Expo and you see like all the girls dressed up like the Vocaloid characters and they're singing their little songs or whatever, it's cute. You know, it adds to the atmosphere when you hear like the occasional Vocaloid song. It does. It really does. And I can understand like the fun of creating stuff in Vocaloid. It's kind of like Little Big Planet to a degree, or so I've heard in Japan. It's basically a music program and you can upload songs onto the internet, and like there's a Vocaloid top artist list and everything, and I can understand why that would be exciting, why that particular part of it would be addicting. The actual music in and of itself, though, as far as just listening to it, you know, I wouldn't really do it. It's just not something that I would personally listen to in my free time. Unless there's like a cute little video of like Miku dancing to it or whatever that adds a little bit of extra flavor. Really, Vocaloid music is not something that my eardrums are particularly desiring. They desire something like Pink Floyd all the time. I'm a Pink Floyd addict. Now, if they did Miku singing Another Brick in the Wall, I would love to hear that. Or Comfortably Numb. That is a song that Miku should freaking sing. I would love to see that. Alrighty, WolfMoon23 asks, do you have a must-play game and or a must-see anime? Well, of course, WolfMoon. I think everybody has a must-play game or a must-see anime. My must-see anime for people, because most of the anime that I suggest are things that people have already seen about 10 billion times. I actually have 2 must-see anime. And they're very strange, and not everybody is going to like them, but it's the kind of thing where I don't see them getting a whole lot of attention, and they're 2 that really struck me as being fascinating, so I'm just going to bring them up. Kino's Journey, which I'm planning to re-review one of these days, because I did a review of it before, but the video file has been lost, and so I figured that I could probably do a better job of it anyways. Now, I'm a bit wiser than I was back then. You know, a bit more critical. I understand that not everybody is going to want to hear me gush about Lucky Star or about how kawaii the characters are. You know, I've grown up a little bit, just a tiny little bit. Not enough that I've lost my flavor, because I never want to lose that gotta love breath flavor. That's just who I am. But Kino's Journey is a definite must. It's fascinating, it's intriguing, it's very philosophical, and it gets you into deep thinking. It reminds me of, you know, the very classic episodes of The Twilight Zone, the classic ones that people watch over and over again, because they're not only great entertainment, but they also commentate on parts of the human condition that we don't look at every day. And it makes you go, oh, wow, you know, that's what I would do in that particular situation, or what would you do in that situation? And Kino's Journey hits upon those same sorts of things. Each episode is a singular little story that seems straight out of the Twilight Zone to me, or straight out of M. Night Shyamalan, that kind of a story mold. The good M. Night Shyamalan, not the Last Airbender, go fuck yourself, M. Night Shyamalan. Vocaloid. Wait, where the hell did Vocaloid come from? Kino's Journey, no, it's not Miku with a freaking helmet and goggles. That would just be crazy. Kino's Journey, the main character is great. She doesn't change much as the series goes on, but she's there to kind of guide you through each of these stories. It's the way I've chosen to see it. It's extremely episodic. There's very little continuity between episodes. It doesn't really matter. But the thing is, since you start caring about her because of everything that she's gone through and her philosophies and outlooks on life, so pretty much you can jump in at almost any episode and get something out of it, which I appreciate very much, because that's not something you see in anime very often. Don't have a lot of time left, so I need to just jump right into what I think my must-play game is. Metal Gear Solid 4. I don't care who you are, I don't care what other Metal Gear games that you've played, because I hadn't played any of the other ones all the way through before I played Metal Gear Solid 4. And MGS4 is one of the most amazing gaming experiences that you could possibly have, in my opinion. I still play it to this day, and am absolutely blown away by the detail, the integrity, the intensity, the depth of the story, the characters, everything. It is absolutely a godsend to the PS3. And it's a shame that Xbox 360 gamers can't experience it. You know, it's been exclusive for about 2 years now. I think it's about time that they ported it over to the 360. And everybody who says, oh, then it'd have to be on 10 different discs and everything, you know what? Go to hell. You know, Final Fantasy 13, I think it was on like 3 discs or whatever. People survive. Big whoop. You take the disc out, you put a different disc in. You know what? It's people like you. People like me 3 years ago when I heard that Final Fantasy 13 was going multi-console, and I literally threw like a Captain Jean-Luc Picard out of First Contact, breaking glasses everywhere. No! No! They can't let Final Fantasy 13 not be exclusive anymore. I bought a PS3 for Final Fantasy 13. Yeah, so anyways, MGS4, go and play it right now if you have it, because otherwise you are stupid. This is My Profile is Great, aka MPig, and I am signing out. Send me questions! I need more questions right now. Give me, now.